Hey y'all, I'm really excited to be sharing with you a bit about my New Year's reflection and dreaming process. And this is a process I've been using since about 2009. That was also the year that I was gifted this huge notebook, blank notebook that I use only at New Year's. So this has got 15 years worth of New Year's reflections and journaling and some goal setting. I used to be a big goal setter. I'm not really a goal setter anymore. Um, Goals just don't, I don't know. Maybe I will set some goals this year. If it feels fun, I set them. But I think I used to just be too, goals could get very heavy. Um, and I have this interesting relationship with ambition, where on one hand, I really appreciate and celebrate ambition. And on the other hand, I think it can become distracting from the really meaningful things of life that are about connection and relationships. I think it can be cool when the ambition and the relationships kind of go together. Maybe that's really where the magic of life is or can be. So here's the process. Well, actually, maybe first I'll just kind of show y'all some of the things from the book. Actually, no, I'm just gonna refer to a few things in here as we go through. So the first thing I would recommend is just taking a moment to come into a really sweet heart space before you do this process. So that means taking a few minutes to love and accept yourself exactly as you are. That's a tall order, I'm aware. And I just want to take another minute and just say that again, to love and accept yourself, to love and accept ourselves exactly as we are. So let's share a breath and just let that settle. Yeah, feels good to just let myself feel that and let it sink in that we don't need to be any different than we are. Yeah. And we're always changing. So we are going to become different, whether we want to or not. It's just one of the truths and realities of life. So I invite you to spend as long as you need in that heart space, or just kind of dropping into that heart space. Yeah, taking some breaths, maybe giving yourself some touch or taking a bath to begin doing something kind of loving and soothing for yourself. And then beginning to gather your materials. So for this exercise, like I always like to have this giant journal that I've been using. Um, and I like to have all of my past journals from the previous year on hand. I like to have art supplies nearby, especially like old magazines. I like to have markers and paints and colored pencils, crayons. Any of that stuff can be helpful to have nearby. Pens, I love pens. They're one of my favorites. So, yeah, gather your supplies and you can begin by setting aside how much time you would like for this. I like to do this on New Year's Day specifically, and I like to leave, like, I can spend all day in this process if I really give myself permission. It's actually been a few years since I've given myself all day to do it. Um, yeah, but it can be so fun to do. I used to sit at the dining room table with my kids and they would do it, and sometimes other family members would come or friends would come over and we would do it together. Yeah, so it can be, as little as I'd say a 90-minute process, or yeah, it can take all day or multiple days. So, where I like to begin is with harvesting from the previous year. So, what I like to do with that is look through my old journals, my calendar, my photos, sometimes even my bank account, just to scroll through and see what has happened. Um, to really look like to go through month by month and look at the major events that happened, the lovers, the conversations, the events, the births, the deaths, the natural disasters, really just allowing ourselves to look through the whole year, and just kind of relive, kind of let these snapshots of things that you experience, wash over you. Um, and as I do that, I make an entry in this journal generally, but you could obviously do it in any journal, called Harvests from the previous year. And then I just started writing down, like in snapshots, like things that happened. This person came to visit, or I started a relationship with this person, or this person died, or I went to on a trip. Whatever the events were. And as I write those events, I like to let myself feel something that was really associated with that, time, a way that made me feel as I was experiencing that. And this harvest process, I feel like, really helps us to like lift above our lives, so that then we're kind of looking back at our lives and what happened. And so it puts me into this like really meta level headspace of like, wow, look at all that's happened. And then it's easier to go into the dreaming space next. But before you leave the harvest space, um, really also look for things that you are potentially grieving, and things that you are celebrating. So things that have maybe ended, or, things that you've lost, people, things. So pay attention to the grief, pay attention to the celebrations, um, and let those things be there. Yeah, just really let yourself live through all of it. Feel some of the feelings that maybe you haven't felt yet from the previous year. Yeah. So giving yourself however long you would like for that process. And then when that feels complete, move into this visioning and dreaming about what you would like the future year to look like. And the way I like to do that is by making a list of the different like houses of life, or domains or realms of life. Um, I first started doing it by kind of through this like wheel sort of a situation, where I wrote like a different realm of life in each of the spokes of the wheel, or pie pieces of the wheel, and then I would just make notes about like aspirations I had for each of those parts of life. Um, Now I wouldn't really be so interested in the aspirations, although aspirations, you can make a goal for each one if you wanted, if you're really in a goal kind of a place in your life. I think now it's more interesting and valuable and potent, um, to actually make note of how you want to feel about those different parts of your life. So, do you want to feel peaceful? Do you want to feel ecstatic? Do you want to feel, often grateful can be really helpful. Like, what, imagine yourself feeling grateful about, like, how well you're doing in that part of your life. Um, and then that can help to kind of seed the field for what might bring you to that place of gratitude. So, allowing yourself to really have those feelings. Um, and then in each of these realms of life, you can make a collage or a vision board for each of them. So I'll give you a list of some of the ones that I use. I change these every year. I don't use the same ones every year because they don't always feel, I don't know. It's just they don't always feel as relevant. Like, for example, um, I used to separate erotic and romantic from friendships and social. And now I'm like, wow, those are all the same thing. So there's actually now it's more like my intimate relationships and then my more like extended community. That's more how I would kind of divide that up now, my relationship life. Um, so however you whatever you categories you want to use, you can definitely customize that, of course. But here's some ones that I've found helpful. So fun and play, intimate relationships, body and health, family, spiritual, home and daily routine, financial, professional and career, community, creative and beauty, and nature. Another one might be service, like how you want to be of service to others. That could be similar to either community or your professional and career life. Um, yeah. So I have these also. I'll send you all I'll link in the here to the blog post that I've written about this so that you can see this written down. Although the comments that I read are a little different than what I have on the blog post, but yeah, I think it'll help get you started. And then yeah, I love making art, making something creative to allow the dreaming process to go further. Making vision boards, which I just go through old magazines and pick out images that feel like they inspire me, and they may be applicable to one particular realm of life, or it just might be my overall life. Yeah, I often will I do like to write a little something about each of the pie wheel sections that can really help, and then do something to really pull it all together. Yeah. So I think that's really it. That's what I wanted to share with y'all about this process. And I hope you get to set aside some really juicy, yummy time for yourself to sink into this and to let yourself feel what happened last year, and also feel into and dream into what you might like to see in the coming year. One thing that feels really alive for me is this notion of being in the magic all the time and imagining what it will feel like and be like to know that like every moment of every day is a magical moment, even the moments that feel contracted or confused or messy. Um, yeah, yeah, and celebrating all of it. All right, dears, thanks for being with me on this journey. Yeah, and I would love your thoughts and feedback about how this goes for you if you so choose to try it. All right, big love.